Hey guys, what's up? Alright. It's Double Deuce back with an update on the 55 Chevy build. I know I've been in hiatus for a while. Had a few issues, had to take care of those. I wanted to thank everybody for all the love, checking in on me, make sure I'm okay. I'm still here and I'm still kicking. So, sometimes you go through things in life, you don't understand, and you just deal with it, I guess, But we had a lot of, I guess, education on this build right here. I got a suspension, finally. I got a rear axle, finally. I got front wheels and tires that I'm really not happy with, but they serve the purpose right now. So grab your favorite smoke, beverage, popcorn, and hang out with me today, and I'll go over some snafus that I went through when you're trying to do a cheap build. And I'll explain that later. Okay, so you see we have a rear suspension, finally. We have a rear axle, finally. We have front wheels, finally. Now, when you're scratch building like this, you're basically stabbing in the dark when it comes to buying off-the-shelf parts, okay? So I couldn't get a hold of a 9-inch rear end from Gary, who does the quarter scale stuff. However, they're so hard to get, and they're exotic and they're really expensive. So I chose to go the route that the average hobbyist could afford if they wanted to build something like this. Okay, so what I ended up buying was a rear end out of it was actually, this is a Super Baja Rock Ray, okay, and it's, there were some things here I learned the reason I have two of these is because I bought a takeout. It was out of a, when they bust the cars down, they sell the pieces. And what I didn't realize is these outer housings here are set at 3 degrees towed inward, which is a recipe for disaster at this scale. Any wheels towed inward is great for off-road, but it's not good for the street. And what it does is it just, it's fighting against itself constantly on pavement, and if one wheel loses grip, it steers the other way and you got a massive rollover. So anyways, it took me a lot of research online to figure out I could buy a housing for about $25, and it came with 0 offset outer bearing housings, and it came with the 3 degree ones. And I basically bought this whole rear end just so I could get the outer bearing housings that were 0 degrees, so my wheels set straight, not towed inward. When you're scratch building something, being symmetrical on both sides is a really important thing. If you want to experiment later with that, that's up to you, but it just doesn't look right when you're putting it together. Now, 3 degrees on something this small, like I said, it's a recipe for disaster. I don't even know why they did it. And I paid $100, around $112 for this rear end. That was a takeout. And then I paid, actually, it was around $25 for the housing and the outer bearing pieces. And it comes with your upper link mount that you can mount on there. And the reason I thought this was kind of cool was because, one, finding a rear end that's 15 inches wide with the axles and stuff in there is virtually impossible. That's affordable. And if I don't use the 4-link, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, I can convert this to a leaf spring. Now, another reason I bought this rear end is, one, it's upgradable with aluminum housing. They sell them online. And 2, it is, let me get this out of here. There. You can turn your differential around upside down, and that way if you have to reverse your inertia of your drive shaft to a transmission and it comes out the opposite direction, you can just turn your ring and pinion around and then put it right back together again. Very simple, you know, that way you're not having to come up with new transmission choices. Okay, so when I was throwing it together, I come up with some links. Everything back here is kind of temporary because I wanted to see how it would work out. I ended up using shocks off the Sen Colossus and the springs, and they turned out to be perfect with the weight of the car, the body, and it gives me a little bit of squash room here because I want it to be about there, you know. And the wheels set inside. I bought 1-inch spacer adapters off a 5B or a Roven, and I adapted them to fit the axles here, so I can use the disc brakes on the back. Now the front, these wheels are a little large. They're kind of donk, you know what I mean? But the reason I bought them was because there's not a lot of choice of wheels and tires out there for a 5th scale car that are skinny, and I needed skinny wheels on the front and the fatties on the back. Now I was going to go with the Primal RC front wheels and tires, but they're only like 3.5 inches, you know, in diameter. It would look really dumb in the front. And so I bought these here. What were these? These are HPI Racing. There's not even a part number on this there. It's like these came from Australia. They're 10-spoke. I figured I would take out every other spoke and make it a 5-spoke. But the wheel's so big, I don't know, you know. And another thing that I found out was they're not a 24mm hex, even though they advertise them as a 5th scale option for your buggy, your truck, whatever. They're a 22mm hex. So I had to take one of the 24mm adapters, heat the thing up and try to squish it down in there to melt it in, because my disc brakes have a 24mm hex in the middle of them. And so the reason I haven't put up a video, I was messing with all this stuff, waiting for parts to come and everything else. And once I got everything together, like I say, we're kind of recovering here from my little health episode I just had, and now I'm back on the build again, you know, when I get time to do it. So, and so far so good. It's looking good. Like I say, I got the tilt nose action happening here, and everything's working out good for that. And usually just comes right up. For some reason, there we go. Reach around. We got the tilt nose, we got the radiator, I got my firewall started. This is just rolled aluminum you can buy at your local Home Depot, Lowe's store. I use steel tubing, brake tubing, and stuff to create a structure for the frame. And you know, over time, you know, when you change one thing, you got to change 10 other things. So if you don't build it right the first time, it takes some time to, you know, go through everything. Now you can see the table's a mess, you know, but I got the look that I want, you know. It's that old school tubbed look and tilt nose. The only thing that I don't like about this is the size of the front tires. They're just too big, even though they do match with the ring and everything. Now I was gonna buy the quarter scale set that came on the Conley replicas and all that stuff. They were, you know, they were close to $600-700 for them on eBay, and then you had to buy the brake discs, the knockoffs, and all that stuff. And I did see that RC four-wheel drive has the quick change rear ends in stock again. Those are around 250, you know. And then the adapters to bolt on with your knockoffs and your brakes are another 250. So your build can get out of hand really fast. And when you decide to spend, you know, 7 to 10 grand on a build, you're not going to drive it. You don't want to drive it, you know what I mean? Because you don't want a chance of messing something up. You lose a radio signal or you hit something, you know. It's just it's a downhill catastrophic set of events that you don't want to deal with. Because we all put a lot of pride in our builds, and like I say, this one here was just kind of a in my head build. I did not even expect to start this build, but I'm happy the way it came out, because one, it got me away from diagnosing engine problems from companies out there, and I got to use my creativity again, which is really important nowadays. You know, you got it inside, it's got to, you know, it's in your head, you got to get it out, you know. So anyways, guys, like I said, I've not been online basically for about 3 weeks. I've been having these terrible migraine headaches, and it's, you know, they're hit or miss. I can't predict them. When I do get one, I'm down for about 6 to 8 hours, whether I'm at work or whether I come home and have one, or in the middle of the night. So we're still not figuring out what that is. My father had these things, and I don't know if they're hereditary or not, but you cannot function when you have those, so it really puts the brakes on my build, which is really frustrating, you know, because when you look at everything here, it's like, man, you just want to finish it, you want to see it go, you know. And like even searching parts down, you know, you can spend, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours online searching for parts. So, and you know, like I say, and then you're hoping they made up. And with the parts industry and the RC cars, everything changes so quickly, you know, and you don't know what you're getting. And like I say, with the 3-degree, you know, bearing lockouts here that were a total surprise to me, and then have to research again to find that I had to buy another housing just to get the 0-degree ones, because nobody advertises the lockouts at 3 or 0 degrees online. Nobody does. I stumbled across this with a video one time, about 2 weeks ago. That's when I ordered this. You know, the whole housing. I figured, you know, it's, you know, at this point in time, I'm stuck. You know, it's like, it's either not use the rear end or pay the $25 for another rear end housing and rob the parts out of it. So now at least I know what I'm doing. And if you want to build one of these on your own, this thing kind of has that Curry axle, you know, aftermarket look to it. It's really heavy duty. The third member goes in the front. Like I say, the ring gear is reversible. You can buy the axles online. You can buy everything piece by piece for this thing. And it could be affordable to the average hobbyist. That way you're not buying a crazy $250 rear end that has no, it has a center section with 2 live axles that come out. So there's, how do you mount that? You have to make sleeves for those axles now. How do you put the disc brakes on it? You know, I mean, there's just so many other things. Now you're going to have trailing arms or some kind of a setup back there with a bearing that you can put your brakes on. And it's just, where this one here has a mount right there for a caliper bracket, because these come with plastic calipers and plastic rotors. So I'm going to work off what they've given me here and put my roving disc brakes on the back. And what I want to do too, I kind of want to have a little shut-off valve hooked to a servo. That way I can hook up a line lock to this. So if I squish it down, I can cut and shut off the front pressure from returning. That way the front wheels are locked and it relieves the pressure on the back. That way I can do kind of like a cool burnout. That's my goal there. So, anyways, guys, it's the 4th of July, day before. I want to keep this video short, around 15 minutes or so, and I'm a little over that now, but I'm back, and thanks for the love. Love to all back to you guys. And like, share, subscribe if you want, and keep on keeping on, yeah. Later.